But there's one more that we haven't mentioned, and it is very important that we do cover it. And it really belongs to a class of its own. And it's all called trans fats. Now, these are invented in a science lab where they have no place in the body whatsoever. And they began by scientists grabbing certain oils and other chemicals and hydrogenating the liquids so they become hydrogenated liquid oils, and they can withstand better in food processing, and they have a longer shelf life. And they are rampant through a lot of packaged foods, and you could see them in a lot of foods that we eat today, standard off the shelf in a packet. Now, they are not processed by the body, and they can cause a lot of plaque, which leads directly to heart disease and even a possible stroke. So plaque formation is bad. So if you associate the trans fats with plaque and the ramifications of plaque in your body, then you could really see that they are doing you damage. Now, I mentioned that there's no place in the body, so if you do have to eat these foods, we'll make them a rare occasion and make it such that they are not part of your staple diet, rather that they're only part of your treat diet, if I could say that. Now, I mentioned treats in another episode where if you eat a certain treat every day, it's not a treat. It then becomes part of your staple diet. So if you want to call it a treat, then maybe once a week, maybe once a month, maybe less than that. That is a treat. And we have to just be very careful when it comes to trans fats. And these are some of the foods which include trans fats: French fries, microwave popcorn, margarines, meat pies, sausage rolls, pasties, pastries, biscuits, cakes, cookies, fried foods, foods fried in saturated fats, fried takeaway foods, crisps, chips, corn chips, cheese snacks, crackers, some of the chocolates we get off the shelf, which is not natural chocolates, and many commercial baked goods such as cakes and chips and crackers, and they all have associated with health problems if they're part of your staple diet. So we just have to be very careful about what we put into our mouth. Now, as we mentioned before, trans fats are basically liquefied plastics, and it might seem a little bit harsh, but that's exactly what it is. So if you reach for the fridge to go get some butter or some margarine, well then I would always go the butter over the margarine, because if you watch them make margarine, you will understand that it is exactly that. It's liquefied plastic, which is turned into some sort of spread for your breads, and it's certainly not good for you. They say, yes, you're avoiding the saturated fats from the butter, but to tell you the truth, the overall effects of it causing plaque in your system and your body, then I would really be wary of those as well. So that basically shows you a lot of the different types of fats that are available. And I got a lot of this information off some health books I've got, which is the Pharmacist's Desk Reference from Don Tolman, wisegeek.com, healthcastle.com, and mydoctor.com as well. There's a lot of these sites around, and there's just a lot of information, so I urge you to go find some more as well. And you'll find some more of this back on our website as well, so I do encourage you to go have a look and just to see what else we've got there as well, and that's myhealthandliving.com. Okay, so how can we help ourselves with all this problem, especially with the wrong types of fats? Well, here's a few of them. That you could avoid using oils, certain cooking oils that have high saturated fats or trans fats. You could go towards the unsaturated fats instead. So try to avoid using the coconut oil or the palm oil or any sort of vegetable shortening. You've got to make sure that you use the right types, like olive oil, like the right type of canola, and even flaxseed oil is great as well. So minimise using the commercial packaged foods, and they are very high in trans fats. So as I mentioned before, we've got to be very careful about what we treat ourselves with. If we say it's a treat, and yes, I've been good, I'm just going to go get a treat because I feel a bit peckish and I want to eat something a little bit sweet, well, just realise though that every time you put it in your mouth, if it's once a day, then it's no longer a treat. It's then become part of your staple diet. Okay, another great tip is that you always read the labels. A lot of packaged foods have to actually state what's inside, and they might say trans fats, or they might say trans fat-free alternatives. You just have to be very careful. As saturated fats are found in a lot of foods, we can minimize those intakes as well. So if you're going to have meats, we'll try and always have the lean meats. Try and de-skin a chicken if you have to eat it. Try and remove all of the fats of lamb chops. I know it sounds a little bit boring, all that sort of thing, but you've got to look at the long-term picture. You really want to have your body get the most out of it. And we eat meats generally for the protein intake, so we just have to be very careful that we're not filling it with a lot of extra unwanted and unnecessary fats as well, especially of the saturated fats. So, another great tip is to eat fish, or replace a lot of your meaty meals with nuts, mushrooms, and fish instead. Now just remember, fish and a lot of nuts, like almonds and walnuts, contain a lot of the omega-3 fatty acids, which are great for your brain activity and great for cell regeneration. Try and replace at least one of your meals of meats or heavy saturated fats with a great unsaturated or polyunsaturated fat alternative. And this will certainly work towards minimizing your heart disease possibility in the future. So stick with the unprocessed or raw foods and you won't even have a problem at all. So if it can be eaten raw, it is a lot better for you. Okay, it's time for the answer to last week's question, and that was, what two components make up sea salt? So if you look at sea salt, it's really got two elements which make up the molecule. And the answer, of course, is sodium and chloride, because salt is sodium chloride. That's sea salt, and it is very good for you. However, if you have a lot of other salts, which could be potassium chloride or calcium chloride, they look like salts. They are indeed salts. However, they're not readily absorbed into your body, and they don't do the same thing as the sodium chloride. So it's very important that you get sea salt for your great health and prosperity. Sea salt, NaCl, sodium chloride. Okay, now that leads us on to this week's question. And it's all to do with fats and unsaturated fats here, and that is, what similitude is it similar to the human body? And it's all to do with what it looks like. So cut an avocado open, have a look, and then we'll discuss the answer next week. All right, now that brings us to the end of the show, and it is really important that we understand that fats and oils play a big part in our life. And I don't want to turn you off fats and oils, because there is certainly some great avenues and some great health benefits to do with the fats and oils in our body. So, by all means, have the right amount of good fatty acids and avoid, if you can, the other not so good fats as well. Okay, I trust you've enjoyed the show, and you can even tell your friends and family about these foods, these fats, what is good and what is not good. I trust you'll share this information and be very excited about it as well. Just a reminder that if you like our show, then join us on Facebook at www.fb.com/myhealthandliving. And you can also follow us on youtube.com/healthydavec. And be sure to join our special subscribers list at myhealthandliving.com/free report, where you can download your free healthy eating and nutrition guides. They are packed with information and will really, truly help you out. Okay, next week we're going to be discussing the way to make your own snacks without sugar. So snacks and small edible things that you would want to eat through the day without using sugar. And there's a ton of great snacks that you could use in your diet without using sugar. All right, with that, I trust you are going to have a great week. Go share the information and enjoy your own My Health and Living.